Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to take a pause for a very important cause. As some of you may know, April is Autism Awareness Month, and so today I am going to share a video that I did about 6 months ago. It was for a course I was taking on community storytelling. And so it's called Growing Up Autism, and it's where my youngest daughter Shantae is sharing 4 stories about what it was like growing up with a sister that has autism. So for those of you that have been following my channel for a while, you may or may not know that I have a daughter that has autism. I actually have 3 daughters, and Jasmin is my middle daughter. She's 32 years old, and she was diagnosed as being autistic when she was about 2.5, 3 years old. So a little backstory. Jasmin, she was born in 1986. Up until she was about 9 months old, she was progressing like any other infant would. She could crawl. She was beginning to learn how to walk. She was being potty trained. One thing about me and my kids is like, once they can start scooting around in that walker, the bottle has to go, they get a sippy cup. I start, getting them walking. All 3 of my kids were potty trained by the time they were like 1 year old. And so I was never like a hip baby person, when you walk around with a 2-year-old on your hip and the 2-year-old has on a diaper. That was just never my thing. And so when Jasmin was 9 months old, she experienced a seizure. And so some of you may have heard stories in the media where parents were saying that their child developed autism around the time that they were taking, I believe it's the mumps, measles, and rubella shots. And so that was pretty much what happened with Jasmin. I think it was her 2nd shot, and she just suddenly stopped developing mentally. Or not really developing mentally, but she kind of like went into a shell. And so at that point, it's been so long ago, and they didn't start talking about this until like in the last 5 or 10 years. But at the time, they pulled one of the dosages was taken out of the series. So instead of it being the mumps, measles, and rubella shot, I believe they only did the mumps and rubella portion. They took the measles portion out or something like that. But anyway, scientists are arguing. They're saying that there's no correlation to the shots. Parents are saying that, there's too many of us that have had that same experience, so there has to be a correlation. But they're saying that it's not, and so they continue to insist that kids take these shots. So this video with my daughter, she's actually going to be telling these 4 stories, and so just a little insight. And so when Jasmin had the seizure, we were contacted by an organization called Pinellas Association for Retarded Children. And believe it or not, with all this political correctness going on, they are still using that name today. And so they offered her services. They basically took in, provided care for children with any type of illness or developmental disability. And they could go to the school for free. They just asked for parents to donate whatever they could. So when Jasmin was there, I would send her lunches, pay for snacks, make donations to the school, whatever I could in appreciation for what they were doing. So we had a family friend who actually worked park, and so she came to me one day and she said, have you ever heard of autism? And so I had heard it in passing but didn't know what it was. And so she explained to me, it was a developmental disability, and that she felt that Jasmin exhibited many of the signs, and so they wanted to test her. So I have a sister that's a registered nurse, and so I was telling her, and she was like, I've never heard of any test for autism. I don't know what they're testing, what they're looking for, but it can't hurt anything. And so I gave permission for them to do whatever this testing was. So they came back and said, yeah, she definitely has autism. And so they explained that the public school system now had a program that was similar to Park, and that Jasmin, would qualify for the school. They started taking them at the age of 3. And so Jasmin went into the Pinellas school system, and the school is called Nina or Nina Harris, depending on how you want to pronounce the word, Nina, Harris. And so she attended this school from the time she was 3 until she was 22, the year she turned 23. And 22, I think, is the age that any person can age out of the Pinellas County school system. And so while she was there, she received occupational therapy, speech therapy, all types of therapy that they offer to children with autism, even though kids with any, she had classmates with spina bifida, kids with cerebral palsy, kids with heart conditions, epilepsy, children that were born, with missing limbs, any type of illness or disability. These kids were, by law, they have to be afforded a public school education. And so I used to raise so much hell at this school. I remember one time I actually had called the media on them. So I know the day my daughter graduated from high school, they probably were so happy to get her from out of there. But they did a lot of things, like took her into the community. They would take them to the grocery store, take them to the mall. They'd go to the movies. They'd have picnics at the park. Just trying to get them integrated into society. And during this time, autism was really frowned upon. People didn't know that much about it. And you didn't have, like you have today with all these programs and services that are provided to people with autism. But even today, once they turn 18 years old, a lot of those services disappear. So like we used to get this thing called respite care. And so with respite care, there was somebody that could watch my daughter for 8 hours a week. It could be 8 hours in one day, or it could be 2 hours a day for 4 days. But we got 8 hours a week, 1 weekend a month, and 1 week out of the year where you could have continuous round-the-clock care over the weekend and over a week-long period. But then when she turned 18, all of that went away. Same thing with doctors, with dentists. You had pediatric doctors and dentists that would see the kids, but then when they turned 18, it's sort of like no adult doctors wanted to deal with a person with autism because they really didn't know what to do. And I remember she needed to go see the dentist, and they would have to put her to sleep. So we ended up having to go to a dentist all the way in Orlando just to get her teeth cleaned. So that's the kind of things that we dealt with having a child with autism. And so when she was in school, she had the speech therapy, and so they would teach the kids sign language. And so they told me, well, we're not going to teach Jasmin sign language because Jasmin has the ability to talk. She just chooses to talk. So even at the age of 32 now, Jasmin, she never really talked. She knows every Christmas song known to man. She has favorite gospel songs that she loves, and she listens to the toddler radio station on Pandora. So she can't really sing the words, but she can sing songs good enough that you can actually understand, and right off the bat what it is that she's trying to articulate. Her favorite song used to be The Song That Never Ends, and if you are familiar with that song, it does not end, so we would have to listen to that song forever. But my daughter's going to get into that when I show the video that I did for my course. And so what else about Jasmin? Happy birthday. She loves birthday. If Jasmin sees a cake, she automatically is going to sing happy birthday to you, whether it's your birthday or not. But if you come with a cake, that's her peace offering, that she wants a piece of cake. She will sing happy birthday to you. And so when Jasmin, my daughter Shantae used to play tennis, and I remember we were getting ready to go to Daytona Beach for this big Florida tournament. And so Jasmin had another seizure, and this was only the second seizure she had had since she was 9 months old. And so we had to go to neurologists and everything. So we go see the neurologist. He runs all these brain scans and everything. And then he comes back and he says, so who told you Jasmin was autistic? And so I said, well, she was diagnosed when she was like 2 or 3 years old. And then he said, diagnosed how? And I said, well, they said they were going to run some tests. And I remember I'm like 22 years old. I don't know what's going on. And so he says, there's not really any tests for autism. He said, but what I can tell you, just Jasmin's brain scans are very normal. You know, whatever they did, okay? He came back and said, I don't believe she's autistic. He says, I think they told you she was autistic, and then you made her autistic. You went along with the program. You didn't seek a second opinion. He says, but at this point, I mean, it's probably irreversible. There's nothing you can do about it. And so I'm like, how do you just tell a person that? So I was kind of like dazed and confused at that moment. But anyway, fast forward, and we are doing this project for this community storytelling, and my daughter offered to be the subject of my project. And so she's going to tell 4 stories about her and Jasmin, 4 experiences that they have as siblings and what it's like being the sister of someone with autism. And keep in mind, Shantae is 26, Jasmin is 32. And so people kind of oftentimes forget, you know, that Shantae is actually the baby of the family. And then my oldest daughter, Morgan, she lives in California. And at the time I was doing this, she was expecting her first child. And so I wanted her to be a part of it, but she had so much going on. But she's coming home next month. And so I may get her to do some videos so I can do a part 2 of this. But if you know someone with autism, leave a comment below and let me know and share, you know, your experience with knowing someone with autism or with having a child with autism. And if you are African American, you'll know that the rates of autism have skyrocketed. And a lot of boys are more likely to have autism than girls are. And black boys are really being diagnosed with autism at high numbers. And let me know if you think that all of these diagnosis of autism, if you think they're accurate, that these kids really have autism, or is this something that's being sold to us by the government, you know, to fund these different projects and programs? Because I really think that had Jasmin not had that seizure when she did, that we wouldn't be dealing with this today. Because like I said, she was doing at that age the same things that my older daughter was doing, and the progress that my youngest daughter had had. Jasmin was having that, but once she had that seizure, everything changed. And so we treated her, you know, like she had a disability. And so I think just the mentality of parents and how we train our kids up has a lot to do with it. And it makes a difference in kids who, you know, there are different spectrums of autism. So there are kids that are severely autistic, and then there are kids that are high functioning autistic. And it has a lot to do with the therapy and the intervention and everything that the kids get. And of course, if you're wealthy and you have money, you can provide your children with more services than someone that may be low income and don't have the same opportunities. So we're going to go ahead and get into the video. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. One day my mother went out of town, and well, I don't even think she went out of town. She went to like a concert or something, but we can't remember. But either way, I was watching Jasmin for the day. So my friend hit me up and he was like, yo, I have to go to Miami to pick my car up. Can you take me down there? Because he didn't have a car at the time. And I was like, okay, whatever. Because I'm just like always down for something. And then I remembered I had Jasmin for the day. So I was just talking. I was like, yo, I don't think I could go because I have Jasmin. And
he's comfortable with Jasmin and Jasmin's comfortable with him. So he was just like, oh, just bring her. Like, it's just gonna be a day trip. We're just going, getting the car and coming back. And I was like, okay, cool. So I actually didn't tell my mom that we were going to Miami. So I just like, cause I was like, we're just going and coming back. So it's no big deal. So get to Miami, Jasmin's good. And then with the whole car, signing papers and stuff, it took him a good minute to get everything taken care of. So by the time he was done with that, it had to have been like 7, almost 8 o'clock. I personally just didn't. I just got my car, so I was just driving. So I just didn't feel comfortable driving back home that late at night. So he said, okay, well, I'll just get us a hotel room. So books us a hotel. We go get food, take Jasmin into Publix, and I was really nervous about taking Jasmin into Publix because I personally don't like taking her places alone or in certain environments because I just don't know exactly how she's going to act that day, if she's going to get overwhelmed, if she's going to get freaked out.
911, what is your emergency?
We go in and she's good. She picks out food, she gets candy, she's happy. Pay for everything, we go back to the hotel, and the hotel was actually pretty rundown. It may have been like apartments at one time. The room that we had, it was probably like a little studio apartment. It had like a mini kitchen in it. It was cute, but still run down. So do that, me and Jasmin take a shower, was able to get into bed, everything was cool. We ate dinner, went to bed, went to sleep, woke up the next day, we were on the road. And she did end up having an accident. So with Jasmin, she's pretty good with letting you know if she has to go to the bathroom, or if you look at her, you can tell, okay, she has to go to the bathroom. We get to the gas station, and then I'm pumping the gas, or my friend went in to pay for the gas, and I'm just looking at her, and I could tell she had to go to the bathroom. So I tried to hurry up and get her out of the car. And my car is super small. It was a struggle getting her out of the car. So we get out of the car, get her in the bathroom, and then right before we made it to the bathroom, she ended up going on herself. But it was cool. We were able to get her cleaned up, and she was straight. Got to the car, went on home. Even the night before, when I finally broke down and told her, like, hey, we're in Miami, we're not local, just running errands. I could tell through the text and phone calls that she was ready to snap on me. And we came home to my mother, who was very calm. And I think she was just more so happy and thrilled that we were able to get Jasmin back in one piece and that nothing went wrong, or she didn't have like an episode or anything like that. So I think my mother was more so happy about that she completely may have forgotten to curse me out. So that was the Miami trip. I personally think Jasmin had a good old time. My mother seems to think otherwise, but the trip with the cookie company. Since that situation, I don't think I've ever went back there at any location, because that was just really a horrific experience for me. I had to go to the mall for something. I don't know if I needed to return something or if I was picking up something, but either way I had to go to the mall. My friend Raphael, who we went to Miami with, he was with us. And at this time, this was when I got my first car ever. Super old car. It had no child lock on. So, and typically when we have Jasmin in the car, she's in the backseat, we have the child lock on. So I wasn't able to do that. Told Raphael, hey, I'll be right back. He was like, all right, cool. Got into the mall and realized that I forgot something in my car. Went back to the car, got whatever I needed. And then as I'm walking away, Raphael was on the phone, so he just really wasn't paying no attention to me. So I'm walking away, and then all of a sudden I hear the door open. So Jasmin just decides that she's getting out of the car. So I'm like, where the heck is she going? Why is she getting out of this car? And then I just remembered that she is familiar with the mall, because I think that her school, when she was in school, they used to take her to the mall and they walked around and stuff. So she just hops out of the car, and I'm just like screaming like, Raphael, you gotta help me, you gotta help me. He completely ignores me. He's on his phone like laughing it up with somebody, and I'm just like, okay, all right. So I just walk with her, I just take her hand, I just like take a deep breath, and we just go into the mall. And then she goes straight to the cookie company. So it would have been cool if I had my wallet and could pay for a cookie, could pay for anything that she wanted, but I didn't. So we're at the cookie counter, and I'm telling the people, I'm like, you see something is wrong with her. She's not leaving this counter. She's about to like freak out, and I just need you. It doesn't even have to be a whole cookie. It could be a piece of a cookie. I just need something to get her away from this counter. And they just really weren't working with me, and it was starting to get frustrated because how do you not have compassion? How do you would rather not help me out by giving me a cookie? And like I said, it didn't even have to be a whole cookie. You couldn't help me out to get her to calm down and get her away from the counter, but you just wanted to be nasty. So, you know, a few people asked me if I needed help, and I just really wasn't wanting the help. I don't know why, but at the moment I just really wasn't into it. And then a lady came up, or I was still trying to work with the people, they just weren't working with me, and they were just like looking at me like, I wish they would get this girl and go. And I'm just like, clearly I can't. A lady comes up, and she's just like really sweet, and she's just like, do you need help? And I'm like, yes. And she was like, what do you need? I was like, can you just buy me like a cookie? And she was just like, okay, I'll help you. So then she goes and gets Jasmine a few cookies, gives them to Jasmine. Jasmine's just happy, and then she's just telling me that her son had autism, so she completely understood. I'm just like, thank you so much. So Jasmine's happy at this point. She's eating her cookies. We're just walking around the mall, and then finally she just guides me back to the car. So I get into the car, and I get her in the back seat. I get in the car, and I'm just like in the front seat. I'm just like breathing. I'm looking at my friend, and I'm just like, I am so close to putting you at my car. Like, I hope you can use your phone to call somebody to come get you, because I'm so upset with you right now that I just didn't even talk to him. So as I'm just driving, and I just start crying because I wasn't embarrassed. I think I was more so upset because for starters, I was upset with the company that just showed no type of empathy for me. They showed no type of compassion. And I was just so completely over them and just upset with them. I was pissed with my friend because you're in the car, you see that I'm struggling with Jasmine, but you're just in the car, like minding your own business on your phone, just not helping me at all. And then even when I'm in the mall and I'm calling you, and I know you see me calling you because you're on your phone talking, and you're just sending me the voicemail, and I'm like, okay, all right, cool. So I honestly don't think I talked to him for a couple of weeks after that. I was just so upset. And then more so, I was really upset with Jasmine, and thinking about it, it really makes me sad because me now, if we were to be in that situation today, I wouldn't be upset, I wouldn't be mad, I would just be like, okay, how am I going to figure this out with her? And I think I would be more comfortable asking someone for help opposed to just turning away help if someone were to offer it to me. But back then, I was just upset. I just found myself asking, like, why is she like this? Why is she, like, why does she not understand that you can't act like this? And I was just so upset. And that was just a horrible experience for me. And I don't know. But like I said, me now, I don't think it would affect me the way that it did then, because I'm older, more mature, and I think personally I can handle Jasmine a little better now. But that was the cookie company experience. I will never eat there again. loves Disney World. She is in love with Disney World. I think at this point we try to make it like a yearly thing to go to Disney World for her. I just think that Disney World is her safe place. Because like we can go anywhere else and there can be a lot of people and she'll just get really overwhelmed and really, I don't know like the word to describe it, but I think she just gets confused and again overwhelmed. But with Disney World, with the thousands and thousands of people there, she just seems so comfortable and just so at home. So with that, that's like the happiest I've ever seen her was at Disney World. I just remember one year we were on the teapots, or the teacups, and I think it was me, my mom, Jasmine, of course, Morgan, my oldest sister, and then my best friend Raphael. We were cool at this point. So we were all there, and then we were just making the cups go as like fast as we could. And Jasmine just had the biggest smile on her face. It was so big, it was so bright, it was just so genuine. Because at that point, like my heart was so full, and it was just so like, I honestly think I started to cry a little bit because I was just genuine. Like anytime you see anybody that's just genuinely happy, you just get a little emotional, at least for me. I'm a sensitive person though, so I guess I don't really count. But Disney World is always her go-to place, and I love it. I like it. I like it because it makes her happy, and it could be the middle of summer, hot as I don't know what. But if she wants to go and we can make it happen, I will definitely take her and be miserable. But as long as she's happy, I'm cool. So Jasmine has this cheer. So when she was back in school, she was a cheerleader. And it's a cute picture that she has where she has like little pom-poms. They're so cute. So I guess they had little teams that they had with the school, and Jasmine was a cheerleader. So she has this chair that she picked up from the school, and it goes BEAT, hey you, get beat by who, get beat by, and then she says JJ. And then someone responds to her and says, all right, JJ, take it to the top. Number one, fired up. Let's go, JJ. That is her. She says that cheer all day, every day. It could be me, her, and somebody else. I could be doing something, not paying her any attention. The other person could be doing something, not paying her attention. She will say the cheer, and she'll just randomly say it. And then she'll give it a few seconds and wait for someone to respond to her. And if no one responds to her, she'll just sing it to herself. And she'll just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And then even with that cheer, if she's ever in a mood, if she's ever frustrated, if she's ever throwing a temper tantrum, if you just say that cheer to her, she will perk right up and be happy. She may go back to her mood, but in that very second, you're able to get her to calm down at least a little bit just by doing that cheer. And then there's another cheer that she does, or that she did. She doesn't do it now. If you do it with her, she'll do it, but it's nothing that she'll just do on her own. And it goes JASMIN, spells Jasmine. And then she'll just get really happy and just start clapping and, you know, laughing and everything. So those are her cheers. Jasmine freaking loves Christmas. She loves Christmas. It could be middle of summer and she's jamming Christmas songs. and she knows just about every Christmas song there is known to man, and she can sing them to you word from word. She loves the Christmas lights. She will go into the garage, pull out the Christmas lights, go in her room and plug them up. And it would be times I would just walk in her room and then just Christmas lights all over the floor, just lit up. And she's just sitting there with the biggest smile on her face. And you just sit and look at her and you're like, I can't help but to love you. And it is that she will blast Christmas music at 3 o'clock in the morning. You wake up and you're pissed because you're like, I'm so tired. Why does she have this music blasting? And you go in there and again, she just has the biggest smile on her face and she's just in heaven, just happy. She has like the biggest smile on her face that you can't even get mad at her. That you just go in there, you turn the music down, and you just go back in your room and you're just like, I don't even care that she woke me up. But another thing is that with Christmas songs, she will literally go, so before, because we have the music channels through our cable provider, so I think just this year we learned that they had a Christmas channel. So all this year she's been listening to Christmas channels or Christmas songs on the TV. But before, it would always be on the radio. And I'm not familiar, I don't know the local station that we have here, but it never fails. The day after Thanksgiving is when the radio station will always start playing music or Christmas music. She will go find the radio and she will turn it to that exact station. And then for the rest of November, for the rest of December, or all of December, that's all she will listen to is Christmas music on the radio station. And she can find it, doesn't need help, doesn't need you to guide her or nothing. She will do that. If you have an iPad, if you have a tablet, anything, she will go get it, give it to you, and just expect you to know that she wants to listen to Christmas music. That's how in love she is with it. What is it like growing up or being the sibling to someone with autism? So I try not to go a lot of places alone with Jasmin, just for the simple fact that I personally don't know how to handle her when she's in one of her episodes, and I just feel more comfortable if my mother was with me, or even like my best friend Ralph was with us. So I do try to, unless I'm in like a controlled thing, like if we're at the park. If we're at the beach where I know she'll be good. But other than that, I just really try not to take her to many places because like I said, I just don't know exactly how she's going to respond. Oh, I can honestly say that my mother has done an amazing job at making our lives as easy as possible with having Jasmin as a sister. Super normal. I never felt the burden of having a special needs sibling. I never felt like I had to make sacrifices just to make sure she was taken care of or just to make sure she was good. Even if my mom ever wanted to do something when I was younger, at least, when my mom wanted to do something, go out with her friends or concert or anything, I never felt like I had to make a sacrifice to make sure that Jasmin was good. So that's something I'm very grateful to my mother for. Even with tennis, we traveled a lot. Like I feel like at least every other weekend we were always on the road somewhere. And Jasmin would come along with us and it would just be a good trip. I play my match, Jasmin would be good, we would go home and be happy. So it was never, again, I just never felt the burden of having Jasmin as a sister. I always felt like the little sister, even though I do refer to her as my little big sister, but again, I've always felt like the little sister of the family. I never felt like I had to step up with Jasmin or anything like that. Because like I said, my mom just has done an amazing job at making my life as normal as possible and not allowing for me to feel any type of burden of having a special needs sibling. So I do appreciate her for that.
Where would I be without you?
watching. That's it for me. Don't forget to leave your comments below. Rate the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.